I'm 65 years old, and I spent 43 years living someone else's life. I need to tell you this before you waste another decade like I did. There's one question that finally cracked me open at 62 3 years ago, and I wish to God someone had forced me to answer it when I was your age. Here's what nobody tells you. The prison you're living in doesn't have bars. It has expectations, other people's voices in your head, the word should, and you think you're being responsible, mature, realistic. You're not. You're disappearing. The question is simple. 5 words. But when my therapist asked me after my second panic attack in a grocery store parking lot, I couldn't answer it. I sat there for 11 minutes in complete silence, and that silence told me everything. You might be sitting in that same silence right now and not even know it. This could save you decades of regret. But first I need to show you how I lost myself. My name is David. I grew up in Cleveland in the 70s. My father worked at the steel mill for 38 years. Never missed a day, never complained. That was the model. So when I got accepted to art school in 1977, full scholarship to Rhode Island School of Design, I turned it down because my father sat me down at the kitchen table and said, "Art doesn't pay the mortgage, son. You're smart. Be an engineer." And I listened. I told myself it was the practical choice. I was being smart, realistic. I'd do art on the side. Later. Someday. You see where this is going. I became a mechanical engineer. Good job, steady paycheck. Married Linda in 1985. 2 kids, mortgage, soccer practice, PTA meetings. I was doing everything right. I had the life everyone said I should want. But here's the thing, and pay attention because this is where it starts for most people. I wasn't miserable. That's what made it so dangerous. I was fine. Fine is the slowest form of dying. I stopped drawing in 1989. Just stopped. No big decision. Just kept putting it off. I'd open my sketchbook, stare at the blank page, and hear my father's voice. What's the point? So I'd close it. Next week, I told myself. Next month. Later. Later became never, and I didn't even notice. By my 40s, I'd convinced myself I'd never been that good anyway, that it was just a phase, a kid's dream. I looked at my salary, my benefits, my 401k, and I thought, this is what success looks like. I was wrong. And the scary part, I didn't know I was wrong until I was 62 years old, standing in the cereal aisle at Giant Eagle, unable to breathe. It was a Tuesday morning, March 2022. I was reaching for a box of Cheerios when my chest tightened, my vision tunneled. I thought I was having a heart attack. I wasn't. It was a panic attack. My first
That was
one.
a great game,
And when the
everyone.
paramedics checked me out in the parking lot and told me my heart was fine, I started crying. Right there, a 62-year-old man sobbing next to a shopping cart because I didn't even know why. Linda made me see a therapist, Dr. Sarah Chen. I resisted for 2 weeks. I don't need therapy, I told Linda. I'm just stressed about the Peterson account. But Linda looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before. She said, "David, you haven't laughed in 3 years. Real laughter. When's the last time you were excited about anything?" I couldn't answer. So I went. The first 2 sessions I talked about work stress, retirement planning, normal stuff. Dr. Chen listened, nodded. Then in the 3rd session, she leaned forward and asked me about my weekends. What did I do for fun? I listed things. Golf occasionally, Netflix, yard work. "No," she said. "What do you do that makes you lose track of time? Where do you go when no one's watching?" Silence. "David," she said, very gently, "what would you do if you weren't afraid?" And I froze. I'm telling you, I sat in that chair for 11 minutes. She timed it later. I opened my mouth twice, and nothing came out. Because the moment she asked that question, something in me cracked open, and I saw 40 years of my life from the outside. And it was someone else's life. I finally whispered, "I'd draw, I'd paint, I don't even know who I am anymore." She nodded. "That's the question you need to answer. Not for me, for you. What would you do if you weren't afraid?" That night, I couldn't sleep. Because here's what that question revealed. I'd been afraid of everything. Here's the part that haunts me. I wasn't afraid of obvious things. Not death or failure or public humiliation. I was afraid of disappointing people who'd been dead for 15 years. My father died in 2000, but I was still living by his rules in 2022. Still hearing his voice every time I thought about doing something impractical. Still measuring my worth by his standards of what made a man valuable. I was afraid of my wife thinking I was irresponsible. Afraid of my kids, grown adults with their own lives, judging me for being selfish. Afraid of my co-workers thinking I'd lost my edge if I admitted I hated my job. I was afraid of being seen as the guy who couldn't hack it. The failure, the dreamer who should have grown up. You know what the most terrifying part was? None of these people had ever actually said these things. I made it all up. I built my own prison and locked myself inside and threw away the key, and then I called it responsibility. Listen to me. You think you're being practical. You think you're being mature. You think you're doing the right thing by ignoring that voice that whispers "what if" at 3 in the morning. You're not. You're being a coward. And I can say that because I was one for 43 years. That question, what would you do if you weren't afraid, is the one question that strips away all the bullshit, all the excuses, all the voices that aren't even yours. And here's what nobody tells you. The answer doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be quitting your job, or moving to Bali, or writing a novel. Sometimes the answer is small, quiet, a sketchbook, a Tuesday night class, 30 minutes before anyone else wakes up. But you have to answer it. Because fear is expensive, and you're paying with your life. I bought a sketchbook the next day, a cheap one from Target. $12 sketchbook. And I sat at my kitchen table at 5:30 in the morning, and I stared at that blank page, and my hand was shaking. You want to know what I was afraid of? I was afraid I'd forgotten how. Afraid I'd discover I'd never been good in the first place. Afraid the dream I'd carried for 40 years would turn out to be a lie. I drew a coffee cup. Badly. Really badly. Perspective was wrong. Proportions were off. It looked like something a middle schooler would do. And I started crying again. But this time it was different. Because I was doing it. I was answering the question. I was finally doing the thing I'd told myself I'd do later, for 4 decades. Later was now. I drew every morning for 3 months. Before work. Before Linda woke up. Just me and that cheap sketchbook. Coffee cups. My hands. The view from our kitchen window. Small things. Terrible at first. Then less terrible. Then occasionally, not terrible at all. In month 4, I told Linda. I expected her to think I'd lost my mind. You know what she said? I was wondering when you'd start again. She'd known. The whole time. She'd seen me disappearing just like she'd said, and she was just waiting for me to come back. I joined a local art group in May. Bunch of retirees and a few younger folks. We met Tuesday nights at the community center. I was the worst one there for the first 6 weeks, and it didn't matter, because I was alive again. The question wasn't just about art. That's what I need you to understand. The art was just the answer. The question was about permission. Permission to want something. Permission to be impractical. Permission to disappoint the voices that were never mine to begin with. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Really ask yourself, right now. Don't skip past this, because your answer is waiting, and it's been waiting a long time. Here's the truth that's going to hurt. You don't get a do-over. I'm 65 now. I have 10 years, maybe 20 if I'm lucky, to be the person I should have been at 25, and that math is brutal. That's 43 years I'll never get back. 43 years of drawings I didn't make, connections I didn't build, joy I didn't feel. My father's been gone 18 years, and I was still following his orders like he was watching, but he's not watching. No one is. The audience you're performing for doesn't exist, and if they do exist, if there really are people who judge you for following your heart, then they're not your people, and their opinion doesn't matter. You think you have time. You think later is a real place you'll get to eventually. You think someday you'll be brave. You'll be ready. You'll have permission. You won't. Later is a lie. Someday never comes. And the permission you're waiting for will never arrive, because the only person who can give it to you is you. I can't get back 1989. I can't get back the morning I closed that sketchbook and told myself next week. I can't get back every Tuesday night I spent watching TV instead of drawing, every Sunday afternoon, every quiet moment I had and wasted. But you can. You still have time. Maybe decades. Maybe just years. I don't know your situation, but I know this. Today is the youngest you'll ever be. This moment right now, while you're hearing this, is your chance. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the life you're living? Not the life you're planning to live. Not the life you'll live later. The actual life you're living right now. Today, this week. Would you be satisfied? Because that's the real question. That's what would you do if you weren't afraid actually means. It means, are you living, or are you waiting to live? I waited 43 years. Please don't do what I did. Please don't waste your one life being afraid of phantom judges who aren't even real. You still have time, but you have to start now. So what do you do? How do you start? It's simple, painfully simple. You answer the question, out loud, today. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Write it down. Don't think about logistics. Don't think about money, or time, or what people will say. Just answer it honestly. That's step 1. Step 2. Do one small thing this week. Not the whole dream, just the first step. Buy the sketchbook. Send the email. Take the class. Make the call. 30 minutes. That's all I'm asking. 30 minutes doing the thing. Fear has been blocking. Step 3. Tell one person. Not everyone. Not social media. One person you trust. Say it out loud. I'm doing this thing I've been afraid to do. Saying it makes it real. That's it. 3 steps. This week. Because here's what I learned over these past 3 years. The life you're supposed to be living doesn't require permission. It requires courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the thing anyway. I'm 65. I started drawing again at 62. I've sold exactly 0 paintings. I'm not famous. I'm not making money. I'm still not that good, honestly. And I've never been happier. Because I'm finally me. The me I should have been all along. The me that wasn't afraid anymore. You have that same choice right now, right this second. You can close this video and go back to later and someday, and I'll do it when, or you can answer the question. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Your answer is your life waiting to happen. Don't make it wait 43 years. If this hit you, if you felt that uncomfortable recognition in your chest, do me a favor, subscribe, because I'm going to keep sharing the lessons I learned too late, so maybe you can learn them on time. And here's what I really want to know. What's your answer? What would you do if you weren't afraid? Leave it in the comments, don't overthink it, just type it. Making it real is the first step. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. You know who they are. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, you still have time, but you have to start now.